Hello, everyone. My name is Lily Habel, and today I'm going to be presenting on art historian Danny Chan's article, Adding Flowers on Brocade, Shared Aesthetics of Queen Long Porcelain and Rococo Textiles. So about the author, Danny Chan is a curator of Asian art at the Walters Museum in Baltimore, Massachusetts. Her education throughout her life is mainly focused on Asian art. So she got her master's in art history and history of architecture and Chinese at Brown University, and she got her bachelor's at Colby College in East Asian Studies and Chinese. She is also a freelance writer and a fiction writer. So during Emperor Qianlong's reign, which lasted from 1736 to 1795 in China, the art from this era was known to be extremely creatively intense with flamboyant designs. And Chan points out in her argument that most of the scholarship done on this era focused on the technology of the decoration, how the pots were painted and fired, and instead of what inspired the design and how they were developed. So her main argument is that Qianlong's ceramic decoration was inspired by Rococo textiles in Europe, which was a movement that occurred in Europe during the same time period as the Qianlong Empire in China. And this vase that you see on the screen is the vase that she focuses her argument on. Sorry, the slides are being weird. Why? Here we go. Okay, so Chan's methodology and evidence that she uses mainly focuses on comparing the Qianlong vase that you just saw to two Rococo style textiles from France and England. So in order to support her argument, she compares these two textiles to the vase. And although I could not find a quality photograph of the textile that she used in her article, I could find this black and white photograph of the French textile panel. And although you cannot see the color, you can still tell the main design of the textile. So basically, the textile that you see and the Qianlong vase share the same pastel color palette, the same sinuous lines, which are the vines that you see on the textile panel on the screen, and the French technique used to create this textile, this silk textile, is called a lisier technique, which means that there are tiny patterns in the silk underneath the main pattern that create a type of shadow underneath the flowers. And this is very similar to the background of the Qianlong vase, which is incised with little tiny squiggles, which also enhance the shadow of the pattern on it. So here's some terminology within her article that was not familiar to me, and I am going to try to help explain it to you. So the Qianlong Emperor is an emperor in China who ruled from 1736 to 95 when these ceramics and textiles are being produced. And meander, which means a twisting pathway, is actually a term used to describe the way the flowers flow on both the vase and the textiles. It's a meandering pattern. Yang Shai, which means Western colors in Chinese, refers to the pastel, the light pinks, light greens, light blues of the Qianlong vase and the Western textiles. And Fulain Shai also means enamel colors in Chinese, which basically refers to the same thing. What they associated Western colors and enamel colors, which enamel was the technology that was used to create these pastel colors. So basically those two terms are refer to the same thing. And the next term, brocade ground, is a textile term actually that is used to describe by scholars to describe the floral designs on the Qianlong porcelain. So this was huge because using a textile term to describe the Qianlong porcelain designs signifies that there was a connection between the two. The term Jinsheng Tanhua, which means adding flowers on the brocade. And in Chinese, the phrase also stands for making what is good even better. So adding flowers on the brocade, making what is good even better. So here are some details of Chan's argument and some more evidence that she uses. So as I mentioned previously, both the European textiles and the Qianlong vase have those light pink pastel colors, the Yangshai colors, or in English, the Western colors. There are sinuous green lines, which are the vines that are displayed both on the textiles and on a vase, and both the vase and the textile feature asymmetrical floral patterns along with those sinuous vine lines. The incising on the background of the Qianlong vase, which I will show you a picture of in the next slide, echoes the lisier technique that is featured on the French silk textile panel. So kind of a texture or design on the background of the piece to enhance the shadow that is featured on both pieces. Brocade ground, which is a term for textiles, as I mentioned earlier, but it is used in this case to describe Asian pottery, which does suggest a connection between the two. So here is some more evidence of a connection between the textiles and the pottery. The Rococo aesthetic has very striking similarities to the Qianlong pottery aesthetic. So in her article, Chan mentions that the Qianlong aesthetic includes soft colors, which you've seen, patterned ground, sinuous lines, and asymmetry. And the Rococo aesthetic, as she also mentions, and as we can see in the textile examples, include soft colors, asymmetry, sinuous lines, and exuberant and natural motifs. And this is flowers. Examples of this are flowers and vines. So this is some more evidence that Chan includes in her article. So Chinese textiles at the time also mimicked the European Rococo, and it is documented that Empire Qianlong had strong preferences for European Rococo designs and textiles. So this was something that he sought out and he had a preference for. And during that time, what the empire had a preference for was really what was the dominant culture. So also European imports to China were very prominent, as Chan mentioned. So it would make sense that a lot of these textiles were imported to China. Therefore, the Chinese potters and the emperor was able to draw inspiration from them. So these are my own thoughts. So I did think that Chan's argument was very convincing. She uses concrete evidence with her images, which clearly when you look at these images, the textile along with the vase, they are quite similar. They have the same floral pattern, the same colors. The only thing I would have changed if I was in her position would be to add maybe another Chinese face with a light pink background, just to solidify the claim that, this really was a common color that was used. Just add one more example of that. It's the bibliography, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something about Rococo textiles and Qianlong pottery. Thank you.